Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video and continuing on, of course, with the Halloweenish reviews on the weekdays. Yes, that's right guys. You know what I'm reviewing next. And as was clearly teased, I'm sure you probably figured it out. Yes, all about ghosts and literally the word ghost being the title of this movie. Yes, that's right, guys. I am now finally reviewing 1990s Ghost. Yes, 1990s Ghost. Now, admittedly, yeah, because, you know, when you think of this movie, Halloween is not what immediately pops in your head. And, you know, because this is more of, say, you know, of romance and drama, etc. Nothing really Halloweenish. But yet, you know, ghosts are a big part of Halloween. So this would seem acceptable, right? And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I have seen a few people on YouTube whom have covered and talked about and reviewed Ghost around, you know, Halloween time and such. So again, just overall, it seems acceptable. And because, you know, this movie's all about ghosts, so, and again, ghosts are a big part of Halloween, so, yeah. But overall, with the first things I have to say about Ghost, and yeah, I'm glad to have gotten around to watch it, and here I am now, about to review it. And, you know, interesting for me to review this around Halloween time. Yes. But yeah, overall, Ghost itself, yeah, because I knew about Ghost for quite a while, and I most prominently knew a few things that came from this movie, especially one sequence in particular that I think a lot of us very well know so much about, you know, because with, you know, the romance and, because the molding and all that, you know, and how most prominently we've seen it in the second Naked Gun film. It was in one of the Wallace and Gromit short films, It's a Matter of Loaf and Death, and, you know, amongst others that have done a parody of that sequence, and anything else that has to do with Ghost, yeah. And coincidentally, Ghost, being directed by one of the Zucker brothers, Jerry Zucker. Yes, Jerry Zucker, whom, yeah, him and his brother, they brought us Airplane and Naked Gun. And, well, interesting to see, and, you know, because just 1 year after Ghost came out, you know, then would come out, say, Naked Gun 2, and, you know, as we all know, you know, Naked Gun 2 doing a parody of what's in Ghost. Yeah. And, yeah, it's great to see that, you know, Jerry Zucker, yeah, he did direct a few, serious movies, like in the case of, say, the film that had Sean Connery, First Night, but he's also done a couple of other comedy films, like, most prominently, 2001's Rat Race. Has anybody seen that, if you know about that one? But, yeah, and, of course, he and alongside with his brother, along with Jim Abrams, they directed the first Airplane film, but just, yeah. And to top that off, because both Naked Gun and Ghost being Paramount property. So, yeah. I mean, hence why we have, you know, the Ghost reference in Naked Gun 2. But, all right. Anyways. So, again, having to finally sit down, watch the entirety of Ghost from beginning to end. Some things that I knew about Ghost, I had seen a few clips, etc., but not the entirety of it. And with what really goes down, like with the plot and so on, very interesting. And overall, just, yeah, a really excellent film from Paramount, being directed by Jerry Zucker, and this having to do all about ghosts, and with the title itself, Ghost. Yeah, everybody that was a part of this movie, and with Jerry Zucker's direction, you know, how this movie depicts ghosts, and with where the story goes, some surprising moments is here and there, you know what I mean? And just, yeah, moments you don't expect at first, and especially because, you know, you're kind of lost at first, like, I don't know what's going on at this moment, but yeah, it wouldn't take you that long to quickly realize what exactly is going on, and in the case of one of the main characters, who is the titled character, he's a ghost, so, yeah. Yeah, just, yeah, everything about 1990s Ghost is really extraordinary for what it is. Definitely recommend it, and maybe some of you would consider probably watching it, say around Halloween time, or any other time, of course. Like, probably, yeah, because most prominently, this is one of those movies you probably want to watch around, like, say, Valentine's Day or something, but just, yeah. But, like I said, it seems acceptable, you know, to watch it around, like, say, maybe Halloween or something, because again, ghosts, okay? Come on. All right, but just, yeah, overall, and with that being said, with the first things I've had to say about Ghost, yeah, 1990s Ghost, excellent. An excellent movie all about ghosts. Okay, now with the first things I've had to say about 1990s Ghosts now out of the way, now as always, for me, read the description / the story. Sam Witt, I think, yeah, I'm pronouncing the last name right, is a banker, and Molly Jensen is an artist, and the two are madly in love. However, when Sam is murdered by a friend and corrupted business partner Carl Brunner, yeah, spoilers, yeah, over a shady business deal, he is left to roam the earth as a powerless spirit. When he learns of Carl's betrayal, Sam must seek the help of the psychic, yeah, Oda Mae Brown, to set things right and protect Molly from Carl and his goons. Well, it's mainly just one goon, yeah, and oh boy, wait until we get to him, but just, yeah, alright. Now, with reading the description / the story out of the way, well, let us now dive in / break down the film itself, shall we? Okay, so, yeah, the way the movie opens is great, especially how we quickly get the title of the movie, you know, flashy and, I think, like, a bit of a jump scare, wouldn't you say so? Yeah. I think, yeah, even I've seen a few reactions on YouTube of this movie where, yeah, kind of got them, but anyways. So, in New York City, well, we have our three main characters who are, all three of them, they're good friends, but two of them, however, are, you know, big lovebirds. And yeah, those being, of course, Sam and Molly. Sam being played by the late Patrick Swayze, and Molly Jensen being played by Demi Moore. Yep. And their friend at the time, again, because the description / the story / overview already spoiled it, but you know by now, Carl Brunner being played by Tony Goldwyn, whom I know him best, and the same goes for you guys, for all you Disney fanatics. We know him best as the voice of the titled character, 1999's Tarzan. Yep, that's him. Before voicing Disney's Tarzan, he was the bad guy in Ghost. And I can tell at times that, a lot of times, that, you know, and because with him voicing Tarzan, that's his natural voice. So yeah, I of course I can tell, I can hear and picture, you know, Disney's Tarzan in my head. I'm sure the same goes for you, but anyway, so all three of them, they're working together on, you know, redecorating and restoring, yeah, best way to put it, this New York apartment that Sam and Molly are going to live in, and bringing in a lot of furniture and items that belong to them, like, yeah, because most prominently with Molly, she's a big-time artist, especially she is quite good at doing vases, you know, and yeah, and also, like, she has an angel statue she brings in, and, yeah, well, yeah, vase pottery, that's it, yeah, pottery, another way to put it, yeah, so, a lot of her equipment and with doing pottery and such being brought in, and also, like, one chair that is Sam's favorite, but to Molly, it just doesn't go with everything else in this apartment, but to him it does, because he's sitting in it, right, just, yeah. I mean, it's like, take, for example, Martin Crane's chair in Frasier. It goes well in Frasier's apartment because he's sitting in it. Yeah. And that chair meaning something to Martin. And the same would go for Sam and the chair he had always been sitting in. But anyways. So yeah. So them, redecorating and, renovating the apartment and, good progress and such. And Sam and Carl, them being big-time businessmen and working at an office. And, at the start of this movie, it's just, seeing all three characters interacting with each other, reinvigorating the apartment and so on, and romantic moments between Sam and Molly. And it doesn't take too long for us to get that iconic sequence, and again, as would be parodied in Naked Gun 2, but yeah. And not to mention that, it is mentioned at times that Molly, she's going to be, getting a big offering and such because of her artistic skills and such, And, for Sam, he's going through a few things, and when he shares it with Molly, because everything that, he has now, he's afraid of losing it. Now, it's understandable. Haven't we all been there sometimes and have that fear? Yeah. But Molly, all she can say in response to what Sam's going through is that she loves him very much. And all that he says in return is ditto. That's it. Yeah, ditto. He, not once, all throughout the film, does he say, I love you. But I think it's obvious that he would later on in this movie. Oh yeah, when the big moment comes for him to say it. But anyways. So yeah, and of course again, with that big sequence, the iconic song that plays during the pottery that Molly is making, and Sam coming in. It's very late in the evening, and, both of them couldn't get any sleep, and, well, I mean, Sam, he dozed off, but he's awake, and, he slips in and, starts to help Molly making a new pottery, because the first one she was making kind of kind of crumbled and such, but yeah. And the song that's playing, Unchained Melody, sung by the Righteous Brothers. Yeah, I think I said that right. I mean, it's a very, about that song, Unchained Melody, because I think it's obvious that even as of now, Ghost is what made this song so iconic. And that's the thing when it comes to movies. Certain songs that are in certain movies like Ghost, we remember those songs most prominently from those movies. I mean, golly, I can think of best example, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, the songs that James Gunn selected for the Guardians films. Think about it. Just, you get exactly what I'm saying. Or say Lilo and Stitch, the Elvis songs that were incorporated into the Lilo and Stitch franchise. Anyways, so yeah, that sequence going on, things get romantic and steamy, of course, between Molly and Sam. And, there's that. But anyways, and then, afterwards, well, there's a moment where, because, while at work, Sam notices quite a big, a bank of money, and it's spiking. And, it's a lot of money, $4 million, as I recall. And, because, he uncovers discrepancies, however I'm pronouncing that, again, me sometimes, in the bank accounts. And just seeing money laundering. Because basically money laundering would be laundering for drug dealers. Oh yeah, that's a bad sign, not good. Sam, he tries to fix this up, and, because putting it in a different account, locking it up, and, when Carl comes in, Sam's, shares this information and, wants Carl to just keep it between both of them, just doesn't want this to be heard of and, what could happen if anybody else knows, etc. But that would be a big mistake on Sam's part, because, little does Sam know, and at first, us, the audience, know what's going on and what this would have to do with Carl. Yeah. So after Sam takes care of this, with hiding all that crap ton of money, locking it up and such, nobody can get to it, not even Carl. Well, later that same day and that evening, and Sam mentioned this to Carl, that he was going to take Molly to a theater show, and once they get out of the show that they went to see, and they start to talk some, and again, Molly mentioning about an offering because of her artwork business, pottery, etc., and and also them just talking about, because not once has Sam said that, he's never said still that he loves Molly, but I mean, obviously she would know that, right? Even though he hasn't actually said those 3 words. But also, it's mentioned by Molly that they should get married. Not wait anymore. Not wait any longer, I should say. They should get married, at some point, maybe in the next week or so. Yeah, just, get to it. So, yeah. So, as they go on talking and they find themselves in an alleyway, I mean, we can tell by the setting, well, they are, I guess you could say, yeah, they're ambushed by this thug whom approaches the 2 of them, and the thug asks for Sam's wallet. Nothing else, just his wallet. And he goes along with this, and Molly, she's trying to have everything be at peace and all that, but man, the thug, that because when Molly tries to intervene, the thug slaps her, and yeah, that's a no-no for Sam, and yep, it triggers him. He tackles the thug, and it's bound to happen. It's gonna happen, and it does. A gunfire, bullet goes off, and the camera cuts, and we see the thug running off like a coward, as always, and we see Sam trying to catch up to him, but he just runs away too fast, and I can't catch up to him. And when he goes back to Molly, well, to Sam's shocking discovery, and that goes for us, the audience, anybody, for the first time watching Ghost, yeah, don't tell me the first time you watched Ghost, you were shocked by this, right? Because, yeah, if you had no full knowledge what all goes down in Ghost, as I was saying, Sam, to his horrific discovery, and for the first time viewers of Ghost, he sees his other self, his lifeless body in the hands of Molly. And then things just start to happen in Sam, where it's he wakes up at one point in the apartment, he thinks that Molly's in bed, but no, it's the angel statue. Then he wakes up again, finding Molly in bed. So much happening until he's back in the alleyway, and there's a heavenly glow coming down. And I think it's obvious. I knew right away, because, yeah, that was basically the opening of heaven, and, well, Sam, he avoids it, and it doesn't take too long for that heavenly, light beam to close. Yeah, well, because Sam, he's got unfinished business, rightfully so, because of what is going to happen next in this movie. And Molly, she was calling for help, everybody, coming, the police were called, and, yeah. Well, what happens is that, Sam's body doesn't make it, and now, yeah, Sam has died, and now we see him in eternity as a ghost, and throughout this movie, and, well, nobody, of course, can see him, with the exception of other ghosts that are present in New York. It doesn't take too long for Sam to encounter and witness other ghosts, and because one ghost, and yeah, that's great. I like how they're credited, because we don't even need to even know their actual names, because they're ghosts. So yeah, so we have emergency room ghost being played by Phil Leeds, who, yeah, can tell right away that Sam is a newcomer. Yeah, he's now just become a ghost, and, yeah. And when noticing and looking at his lifeless body through the sheet, because, yeah, a bullet, and, yeah, that happens, as the emergency room ghost says. And the emergency room ghost is waiting on his wife, and, yeah. And when noticing another ghost that, is, yeah, a body that is trying to be resurrected, you know, because, you know, clear. But, yeah, the emergency room ghost already knows that that guy, he's not going to last. He's going to die. And we see the heavenly glow come in, and thus the soul, the ghost and such, is taken up to heaven. Yep. And the emergency room ghost, he disappeared after that. And then we would get a small sequence, Sam's funeral. Yeah, Sam's funeral would happen, and Sam's ghost being present at his funeral. And of course we see Molly there, and Carl, and another ghost that Sam would notice at his funeral, you know, way off in the distance almost. A cemetery ghost, being played by Sharon Brazello Cornell. Yeah, that's her last name, but yeah, Cornell. Yeah, just waving at Sam, and because what? And yeah, because it's another ghost, and you know, and we see her grave. Supposedly, she walks through it, and yeah, she just walks off. That's it. Yeah, but poor Sam, with what he has to deal with now. But man, with what he would discover next, and yeah, and because he's dead, there's really nothing he can do. But as long as well, he would try to find ways to make contact with Molly, and also, yeah, assuring her that, you know, he is right there. Then, like, we would then see, like, what would happen, the aftermath of Sam's passing, and what's going on with poor Molly. Because, yeah, now that Sam has passed, well, because, yeah, Molly's now living in the apartment all by herself, you know, all that time being spent, that dream apartment that Sam and Molly had hoped for, and it was fun while it lasted, just, yeah. Now it's just Molly. With the exception of a cat. At least the cat that Molly has in the apartment is technically keeping her company, but the cat is not enough than, say, Sam. I think it's obvious, yeah. Okay, but anyways, and to speed things up some, because, yeah, you know, still, at times, Carl, you know, trying to be there for Molly, and even helping Molly at one point, you know, packing some stuff up, you know, Sam's belongings and such. In fact, there's a lot of things that, you know, she wants to keep because of Sam's memory, you know? Things that she didn't really, like, she didn't like or anything. Like, there was, like, another, like, concert they went to that she wasn't really into, but yet, you know, she just wants to keep that kind of stuff because of Sam, you know, now that he's gone. Yeah, which is understandable. And then, like, Carl offers Molly to take a walk, to load things off and stuff like that. And, I mean, Carl makes a good point that, you know, she just can't keep herself tucked in the apartment because it's not healthy. Yeah, especially for what just happened and what she's going through. Just, not really. Yeah, I'll give him that. He does make a good point on that, but, yeah. And, well, and she then obliges, and that's what she does. And, you know, Sam just, because I think, you know, he's, like, concerned, and now that it's just Carl and Molly, and not quite fully adjusted to that he can go through objects, even when, yeah, he can go through people, and he can see in the inside of people's heads. Yeah, we see that a few times, and when he goes through objects, in the case of doors. However, his attempt on trying to go out through the door of the apartment, well, the thug that was responsible for killing Sam, he shows up at the apartment. And to go ahead and mention the thug's name, Willie Lopez, being played by Rick Avalos. Hey, I think I'm saying his last name right. Again, you know me sometimes, yeah. So, Willie Lopez, and yeah, he's one of the main bad guys besides you-know-who else. Spoilers, but anyways. So he comes in, he's looking for something, and Sam knows that this is not a good sign, and he tries, but he's not able to do anything, trying to tackle and go for Willie, because, well, there's nothing he can do. He's a ghost. However, when Willie makes his way upstairs, well, Molly came back, and Willie hides briefly, for him not to be seen by Molly, and when she goes into her bedroom, Willie can see where the angle of this mirror, he can see where Molly's, taking off her wardrobe and being a little, Tom Peeper, And Sam, he manages to use the cat to make the cat jump, because, almost forgot to mention that the cat can technically sense the presence of the ghost of Sam. And that's the thing, because the whole thing of cats and dogs, they can technically see ghosts. Yeah, I'm sure you know this, but anyways. So, with that, making the cat lunge and, scratch Willie's face. I mean, he rightfully so deserved it. And he made a run for it, because Molly heard some wrestling and heard the door closed, and But Sam, he pursues Willie through New York and up to the subway train station. And, because... obviously he wants to know where this thug is, and what this thug has a fascination for, what he wants that has to do with, say, Molly. Because, on account that Willie showed up at the apartment building. And, again, following Willie throughout parts of New York and up to one of the subway trains, and, wherever Willie's gonna go to and where his place is, And in one of the subway trains that Sam follows Willie at, well, Sam would come across yet again another ghost being referred to / labeled in this movie as Subway Ghost, being played by the late, great, talented Vincent Schiavelli. And this, I did pronounce his last name correctly, so yes, just in case I had to make sure, and I did, so Vincent Schiavelli. Vincent Schiavelli, great actor he was, and his appearance in Ghost is pretty good. So him being this grumpy subway ghost who apparently he will not share a subway train with another ghost, and when the subway ghost sees Sam and he immediately can tell that it's another ghost, he's just barking at Sam to get the heck out of his train. Well, it's not really his train, but just and what, there's not enough room for another ghost on a train? He's not too keen on sharing, apparently, the subway ghost. So, just trying to get Sam booted off the train, even when at one point, throwing him to the next part of one of the coaches of the subway train. And the subway ghost, first hint of indications to Sam on ghosts actually interacting with objects, the subway ghost managed to break off glass. And, so... Sam will very slowly but surely know and learn how to exactly interact with objects and so on, and move them. So after that first, interaction between him and the subway ghost, he proceeds on following Willie to where he lives, and with what he so far discovers, and when going into this crappy apartment that Willie lives, well, Willie, having managed to get a hold of the wallet, and takes a phone call from someone that has hired him to having stolen Sam's wallet. And not much is said by Willie for Sam to know, but it's obvious, and for Sam, that, he realizes that Molly in some way is in danger, and Willie being involved. And what is Sam gonna do? How is he going to be able to warn Molly about this? And sometimes in Ghost, she would sometimes be referred to, nickname as Moll. So I think I got that right. But anyways, so what would happen? And luckily, for what Sam would discover, maybe there is hope. There's big hope for Sam getting some help. Well, that being, finding, O'Day Mae Brown, whom, she supposedly is someone that can reach out to spirits and such. Yeah, psychic and so on. O'Day Mae Brown, being played by the one and only Whoopi Goldberg. Yes. And, especially, young Whoopi Goldberg and some of the early films that she had done, like, from, say, Color Purple, A Rising Star, and so on. And even when she, willingly, guest starring on Star Trek The Next Generation, and when she, was doing films like, say, Ghost, we know her best as Guinan. Anyways, so we have O'Day Mae Brown. We also have her two sisters, and they're credited, and they're just called O'Day Mae sisters, both being played by Armelia McQueen and Gail Boggs. Yeah. So again, she's supposedly this psychic person, and who can contact and make communications with ghosts and spirits, and it's basically a scam. Yeah, but little does O'Day Mae Brown momentarily realize that what she's gonna actually get herself into, because when Sam walks in at this place and witnessing, someone whom is gonna, ask O'Day Mae Brown to get in contact with, well, it doesn't take too long for Sam to realize that, and as he says it best, pardon my French, but it's true, it's a buttload of bullshit. It is at first, but when Sam starts to speak, and he's saying this stuff directly towards O'Day Mae Brown, apparently she can hear him. Yeah, she can. She's the only human being that can hear, only hearing the voice of Sam. She can't physically see Sam, just his voice. And Sam then starting to realize that, oh man, she can hear me. Well, yeah. And then he starts to talk more and more, and it just gets too intense for Mae Brown. And when then he starts to tell O'Day to say his name, and eventually she does. And, Sam just now won't leave her alone and just keeps pestering her and so on. And apparently, this gift that O'Day puts it at best, her mother had it and her mother's mother had it. It's been in the family for generations. Yeah, the mothers and such, the women. And now, unbeknownst to O'Day at that time, she has it also. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't she? If her mother and her mother before her grandmother had it, then just, seems acceptable for her to have it. And O'Day's sisters, they think that she's kind of going crazy. In fact, they were considering at one point to call up the doctor, but just, good thing they don't. And Sam, he does his best to convince O'Day to reach out to Molly, which she would do so. When she does, she introduces herself to Molly and mentions that, she has a message that came straight from Sam, but Molly finds this too scary and crazy to be hearing this, and it doesn't take her too long to hang up the phone. But then Sam continues to convince her some more, O'Day, to help him out with this situation, to this time actually go there, physically meet with Molly at the apartment. And Sam he won't leave her alone until, he gets what he wants from her. And at one point that same evening, just traumatizing her, and just tormenting her, I should say, by singing this song that apparently he sang to Molly that convinced her to date him and such. Yeah. But of course, in the case of Molly, well, look what it would get her when she would then date Sam. It was like, heaven for her, as we know, and and when the movie started off, like the relationship between both of them. You know what I mean? So after a lot of convincing, Sam humorously tormenting poor O'Day, she accepts. I'll go! And by the way, because I'm sure I had a feeling, and boy, because there are some humorous moments to come from Ghost, and especially they most prominently come from, say, both Sam and O'Day. The chemistry that both Sam and O'Day have throughout this movie, and when, Sam just constantly tormenting O'Day and kind of like poking at her and all that, just with what goes down in this movie towards both of them. Oh, it's great. It's really great. By the way, I know I meant to bring this up early on, because I'd mentioned, say, Naked Gun 2 and others. Like, I also remember Disney's The Pacifier. If you guys know this too, there was one sequence where the family in The Pacifier, they thought they were watching something that was coded Ghost, but it was actually the movie Ghost. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I remember that, and a clip of Whoopi Goldberg and in this pink suit getup that she wears at some point in the movie. So yeah, good thing I thought of it and I didn't forget to mention it. So yeah, I'm sure you guys probably know what I'm talking about, and if any of you, of course, who have seen Disney's Pacifier, and if you actually liked it. Okay, but back to what I was saying, because, yeah, Sam, tormenting poor O'Day to go there in person to meet with Molly, and Molly just, shutting out O'Day, but when Sam tells O'Day to mention some things that, of course, only Sam knows, and by sharing it with O'Day, like certain items, or like, say, that she at one point wrote her name in a piece of green underwear, all that, just, yeah. Then at one point, they're at a restaurant, and the more talk that each of them have, Molly is still not convinced, but then when, like, say, Ditto is mentioned, and yeah, now she wants to hear more from O'Day. And, back at Molly and Sam's apartment, then it would lead to, say, and it just, then it would just start to get too aggressive and stressful, I should say, for O'Day. And, in fact, because when, word for word, and with what Sam passes on to O'Day to share with Molly, that she's in danger, and by the name of, and mentioning to Molly, well, through O'Day, then to Molly, the name of Willie Lopez, and a street that he lives on, which, coincidentally, turns out that that's the same street that O'Day happens to live on as well. Yeah, we're, living near where Willie is. And then it just starts to get still intense and too much for O'Day. And then she wants no part of it anymore. And yeah, she's done her business, and yep, that's it. So yeah, just saying bye to them for now. But obviously, that's not the last we would see of O'Day. Okay, but later that same evening, Carl once again showing up and, just being there for Molly. And when Molly would then mention to Carl about what happened earlier that day when, Psychic Woman showed up, claiming to have seen, just hearing Sam's voice, and with the mentioning of, ghosts, and also the mentioning of Willie Lopez, etc. Carl finds this hard to believe, but not exactly, because, with him kind of playing along, but what would happen next, and, even when, like, say, through, from Sam to O'Day, and, saying it to Molly, to, having written Willie Lopez's name, and to report Willie Lopez to the police and such. In fact, Molly was actually gonna be doing this, but, and by going down there, but for Carl, because he willingly does so by going to check out the place himself, that street, 14D and so on, that's, number 14 being in there, where Willie Lopez lives at. And thus Sam, he follows Carl, and, hoping that Carl will be okay by confronting Willie and such, and, to Sam's horrific discovery, turns out that whom hired Willie to take his wallet, but it would lead to, say, him being shot to death, Carl was behind it. He was responsible for what would lead to Sam's death, all because of the buttload of money that was in a private account that Carl could not get into. that's why, just, ugh. And yeah, again, to Sam's horrific discovery, to having be brutally betrayed by whom was once his best friend. Yeah, all because of that big load of damn money. Just, yeah, it's true. And, I mean, in fact, Carl didn't really want for Willie to murder, shoot Sam. All he told Willie to do was just go for his wallet. That's it. But, yeah. And, well, that's all on Carl, because he was responsible for what would happen. Yep. And Sam, just because he can't do anything, just taking out his anger, throwing his fists at Carl, you son of a bitch, you betrayed me, just, yeah. Poor Sam. And now he fully knows that Molly is in danger, being in the presence of asshole himself, Carl. Yeah. Anyways, and then, coming back to Molly, because she actually does so. Yeah. She goes to the police about reporting Willie Lopez. However, when, they at one point tried to look for a file that contains Willie Lopez, there's nothing. There's no criminal records of a Willie Lopez. That is with the exception of O'Day Mae Brown. Yep, turns out that she had been a criminal in her early days, and we see papers of, past times that she had been arrested, one for, say, 1969 and sometime in the 1970s, just, yeah. And the two, policemen at the police station, the police sergeant being played by young Stephen Root. I'd know Stephen Root anywhere. And the policewoman being played by Laura Drake. So, unfortunately, in the aftermath, Molly was unable to get anything from the police. They're pretty much going to be no help with the situation that she's in. Little does she realize fully, and with Sam doing whatever it takes to try to help Molly save her life from Carl and Willie Lopez. Okay, and then what happens next? Another visit from, creep guy Carl. Yeah, and he actually, because to talk more about that, he is a creep, and especially towards Molly. And yeah, it's obvious still, because he's trying to make a move on Molly. And even when Molly just, isn't feeling it, of course, because, when at one point Carl shows up once again, and with what each of them share, and Molly most prominently sharing that, she went to the police, was not able to get any help from them, and, even say, Carl, who still is trying to make a move on Molly, at one point he turns the portrait that has both her and Sam in, turning that, and even a moment where he intentionally spilled coffee on his shirt, and by taking it off, and Sam, who's witnessing all of this, he actually, if you notice, if you don't blink for a second, he actually was not looking, because when he looked back at Carl, he then saw the coffee having been spilled. He intentionally spilled it on him. So Sam did miss that. And Carl just trying to give some convincing, warm talk towards Molly that, she's not alone. Technically, she's not, but if this was said by someone else, not Carl, then I'm sure it would have been okay. And Carl just sharing with Molly that she's a talented artist, and that, she just needs to think about the happy times of her and Sam. And yet he's still trying to make a move on Molly. What the hell, Carl? It's true. What a creep. And even when he tries to, and he does, he goes in for a kiss, and she goes with it, and man, Sam, you can tell he's just wanting to lose his anger and scream, and even when he tries to at one point lunge at Carl, but because of that, and of course he goes through them, he actually knocks over the portrait of him and Molly. So that, and Sam realizing this, and this would lead him to, wanting to know how it's done. Him being a ghost, and how ghosts are able to interact and move objects. So what does Sam do? Well, because early on he had seen and witnessed the subway ghost, break glass, he goes to that ghost. Of course he's going to. No doubt that the subway ghost, being grumpy and not being Cher-like, having another ghost be on a subway train, yeah. Well, that was the only ghost he had witnessed fully and having actually, interact and actually break an object. So yeah, so he goes back to the subway station, trying to locate the subway ghost, which he manages to, and yep, and he's not getting off this time, and man, the sequence between Sam and the subway ghost probably would have to be one of my favorite sequences, and just, yeah, great performances from both Vincent and Patrick. How eerie is it that when watching this movie now, both actors, Vincent Schiavelli and Patrick Swayze, they, both of them, each of them passed away. They both died of different stages of cancer. Yeah. And again, just overall, watching this movie nowadays, and to think that, because we lost two great actors, Vincent and Patrick, and to think that in this movie, they're both playing ghosts. If you think about it, and yeah, I'm sure you would think so too. I at one point, and shout out to my mom, I mentioned that to her, and yeah, she couldn't deny that either. Just, yeah, how eerie is it? How ironic. But anyways, so yeah, so Sam managing to convince the subway ghost, subway train ghost, just called subway ghost, to teach Sam how to move objects. And just Vincent's delivery of dialogue and his performance as the subway ghost is great. Yeah, just, you stubborn asshole, he says directly to Sam. So, the subway ghost teaching Sam how to move objects, and, Sam's not getting the hang of it. And the subway ghost making it clear that he's got to do it with his mind, and just, yeah, to think about it, and just to focus on his mind, and by moving, the objects. In this case, he's trying to move, a bottle opener, from a, glass bottle, Pepsi and such. The subway ghost demonstrating and showing Sam, and then by telling Sam to let the anger, the hatefulness, all of that go down here, like in his gut, then unleash it, and thus, boom, an object is, flicked and thrown, tossed, etc. And when Sam starts to do that, now he starts to get the hang of it. Not fully, but yeah, he's making good progress now. And yeah, the subway ghost, impressed, way to go, kid. Yeah, just kind of like the father talk or something, yeah. Then, because Sam then, the more interactions he has with the subway ghost, because it's mentioned from the subway ghost that someone pushed him, and it was not his time. He was intentionally pushed for no reason by someone, obviously, at the subway station. And then the subway ghost starts to, just feel uncomfortable, just like, and questioning and asking Sam, like, who sent you and all that, just, yeah. And again, just the great performance from Vincent as the subway ghost, just fantastic. And when he, does let his anger out, hitting a glass that was holding drags and, and would want to have another one, but just, then he just gets more upset, and also with Sam being there, just, again, questioning and asking him who sent him here, etc. Just, then it ends with him just saying, leave me alone, then he runs off and he hops back on a subway train, and that's the last we see of the subway ghost. Yep. The subway ghost did his part in the movie. Yep. Bye, subway ghost. Yep. And that's all we get of Vincent Schiavelli in Ghost, but it was worth it. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this, because there was a moment early on in the film, and before Sam died, of this Indian penny, and it refers to the for luck, the for luck jar, the jar that's marked for luck, and Sam, telling this to Molly, but later on, and before Carl showed up and, really was trying to make a move on her, as I explained, there's one moment we get of her where she has it in the for luck jar, and she's, upstairs, and I knew it was coming. I'm sure the same goes for you, where, she's just rolling it on the floor, then she rolls it down where the stairs are, and, it breaks. So, And sadly, there was no luck, because, yeah, you get the context, and with that. So, yeah, good thing I just wanted to mention it. Okay, but what happens next, and after the whole, Subway Ghost sequence, the Subway Ghost helping and teaching Sam how to interact and move objects? Well, Sam then goes to once again find O'Day, and he successfully does so. She's still doing the psychic stuff and, scamming people. However, this time, ghosts that are actually present there, one of them being named Orlando, being present and, wants to, reach out to his wife, whom is now a widow, and Orlando being played by Augie Blunt. So Sam being there, and he would interact with Orlando and a few ghosts, and, it gets out of hand once again for poor O'Day, where, because she can hear the voice of Sam. Now she recognizes the voice of Sam. And there's a moment where Orlando possesses the body of poor O'Day, and it just gets really out of hand for O'Day, and once Orlando gets out of her body, or O'Day's had enough and just has everybody get out, and, Sam is once again not going to leave her alone. And he then tells her that he has a plan. He still needs O'Day's help. This time, it has to do with going to a bank and asking her if she's got a good getup she can wear to go to the bank and such. And, by coaching her, O'Day, in disguise, impersonating, I should say, not disguise, impersonating someone by the name of Rita Miller, whom is a fabricated account holder. Both of them going to the bank and basically to withdraw the laundered money, if I did pronounce that right, and with the bank account number, because, being 926 310 926, so you know the number of it in this movie, just because obviously O'Day, in pretending to be Rita, just getting intense, and it's not easy for her. It's just funny with what goes on during that bank sequence. Not to mention that the characters that are at the bank, because most prominently a cameo of the Zucker brothers' late mother herself, Charlotte Zucker, and whom had appeared in a couple of her son's movies. I can think of most prominently, and I'm sure the same goes for you, her appearance in the first Naked Gun film, because, because she was in all three of them, but she was, in the first Naked Gun film, she was Dominiki, if I pronounce that right, being an assistant and such to Ricardo Montalban's character, but she had also been in, say, the other characters that she played in the Naked Gun films, because, because she had been all three of them, but just overall, point being that, she appeared in a couple of her son's movies. Good on her. Good sport she is. Anyways, so again, her being, the bank officer, and when progress seems to be looking good, and with withdrawing how much money came from what Sam discovered early on in the movie, and withdrawing again $4 million, and that would be quite a big surprise for O'Day, and then meeting, say, a bank guard to tell the bank guard to tell Lyle Ferguson that Rita Miller is here to talk with him and thus proceed with withdrawing Rita's original bank account. And the bank guard being played by Tom Finnegan, and Lyle Ferguson being played by Bruce Jarchow, if I said that right, So, again, after some convincing, and, because with the interactions between Sam and O'Day, kind of nudging her and such, and O'Day making an excuse to the bank guard and such that, just jumpy and has gas, all that just, it's funny. But anyways, so, yeah. So so again, it all turns out pretty good in the end, withdrawing the bank account and nobody realizing what has actually happened. And, well, even when at one point Molly did show up at the bank and happened to recognize O'Day being there. But overall, what's done is done. The bank account being withdrawn and them having the $4 million in their clutches, and they have to get rid of it. So yeah, Carl doesn't get his hands on it, and from there on. And, well, O'Day, she's finding it very difficult to give up the $4 million. Yeah. Because her going on what she can do with the $4 million, like buy land and the street and such. What are you thinking, gal? Just like... But, yeah. But overall, Sam, he directly orders O'Day to give it to a charity. Yes, these two nuns that are doing this charity, yeah, and... Well, that's a good thing. That's a very nice thing to do. That's a big thing and when it comes to charities. So, yeah, Sam telling O'Day to give it to the two nuns. Her struggling to give it, but in the end, yeah, she does so. Yeah. And after that, well, yeah, she's done. This time she's done. She wants no part of it anymore. Just, yeah. And when the two nuns look at how much money they got from O'Day, one of them just, yeah, fainting at the sight of $4 million. Well, obviously, because, yeah, I think that pretty much, that pretty much takes care of what they were doing, you know, the charity and such. Yeah, good for the two nuns. Okay, so, to still speed things up some, because, yeah, well, Carl would then... later that same evening would try to crack down and to get into the account and such, but yeah, there's nothing he can do by this point because that account is done for, the $4 million is gone, yeah, and of course he does not take this very well, but Sam, being there at the office, oh, he's in all joy seeing Carl just unable to succeed trying to find the money, because, yeah, and by getting Carl's attention by moving a chair with wheels, then... typing in on the computer, calling Carl a murderer, and Carl shouting, "Who's doing that?" And then when he notices Sam, who's typing on the computer, he types in his name, Sam. And it just, yeah, Sam all throughout the computer. It kind of reminds me, I think it's obvious, I make a good example, the all work, no play makes Jack a dull boy, something like that, but that's a good example that I just now brought up. Wouldn't you say so? So because of that, yeah, I think it's obvious that Carl, now he's really starting to believe, and if that was not enough, for what he just witnessed being typed on the computer, yeah, it's where where it feels as though that, yeah, he's now starting to believe in the whole thing that, yeah, Sam is present, but as a ghost, and going to Molly's apartment, and, well, because with what he gets out of Molly, and with the whole mentioning of the bank and such, and with the mentioning of Rita Miller, and because there was a moment where Molly interacted with Lyle Ferguson, and with the mentioning of Rita, yeah, and because, yeah, Rita, who's O'Day, that's when it occurs to Carl that, yeah, he's got to take care of O'Day once and for all. I mean, he did mention that to Willie Lopez early on, but yeah. But this time for sure, both he and Willie are going there themselves to take down and kill O'Day once and for all, and with her involvement. And even Carl making a threat to Sam by whipping out a knife and telling Sam that he will kill Molly when he comes back and such, if the money does not show up, it's not in his presence. And yeah, Sam knows that, of course, this is really bad and something has to be done. He's going to do whatever it takes to show Molly that he's there and that her life is at full stake. But yeah, first, he has to go to warn O'Day. And when we come back to O'Day, she's at the apartment with her and her sisters. And, you know, they were at one point watching Arsenio Hall, but yeah, one of her sisters changing the channel, but yeah. And of course, Sam being present, and when O'Day says Sam's name, well, O'Day's sisters are like, oh no, not again. She's hallucinating again. But that's all interrupted when, yeah, Sam warns O'Day that Willie Lopez and Carl are showing up. They do. And, well, thus, O'Day and her two sisters, they scatter, getting out of their apartment and going into another, and with Carl and Willie going in to try and take them down. And it's obvious that not only are they going to shoot down O'Day, but obviously that's also going to go for her sisters, being witnesses. Yeah, they don't want to have any witnesses. But what would happen is that Sam would target Willie first, tormenting Willie beyond belief, just, yeah, scaring him, moving objects around. Now Sam's really got the hang of it. Moving objects around, leading Willie to the bathroom, then writing something on the bathroom mirror, boo, yeah, and Willie just, yeah, being very scared, and yeah, he makes a run for it, and Sam just chasing him, pushing him around into some people, all that. And it would all end where he would lead Willie to meet his demise, being hit by two incoming vehicles, a car and a truck. And yeah, we see Willie go sliding on the floor, but I think it's obvious that, yeah, that's not exactly how he got hit. Because when Willie regains consciousness, if it's immediately obvious, yeah, he's already dead. He's now a ghost. And he sees his lifeless body on top of a car, bleeded up and so on, just, yeah. And then he would witness and come face to face with Sam. And Sam addressing to Willie that, you know, you're dead, Willie. And then, for the first time we see this, these shadowy figures that show up, I think it's obvious that what they are, and, yeah, their presence, just, yeah, quite scary, yeah. These shadowy figures that, yeah, they come to retrieve and fetch Willie Lopez and to take him basically to hell, pretty much. So, yeah, Willie Lopez got what was coming to him, and yep, sayonara, Willie Lopez. It was nice knowing you, but yeah, you were an asshole and a thug and a criminal, so yeah, you deserve so. So yeah, that's the defeat and demise of Willie Lopez once and for all. And Carl, having witnessed this, well, he makes a run for it. And just in, you know, good long nick of time, Sam, along with O'Day, they make their way back to Molly and Sam's apartment, and the taxi driver, he was trying to drive there as fast as he could, but yeah, but thanks to Sam, yeah, really making progress and getting there on time. And, well, once they get there, Molly, recognizing O'Day, and yep, she wants nothing to do with O'Day once again, and, well, Sam then sharing to O'Day, only that Sam knows, and etc. This time, mentioning, having O'Day say to Molly that, about the margarita that was accidentally spilled on Molly's shirt, and those earrings that she's wearing right now, he got those for her on Christmas. Yeah. And if that's still not convincing, then what? But then, what would happen next is, Sam would have O'Day place a penny on the floor, and what Sam does is drag it beneath the door, then having it go up on the door, and yep, because of the whole thing of penny for luck and such, yep. And that seemed to really convince Molly that Sam is present as a ghost. And yeah, because what would happen next is, yeah, the more interactions that Sam would pass to O'Day, to Molly, and that, yeah, Sam wanting O'Day to inform Molly that he's standing right there with him, sitting right next to her on the couch. And at one point, O'Day allows Sam to get into her body, and he does so. And, yeah, just telling her, she tells him to quickly do it before she changes her mind. Oh, O'Day. But, yeah, that's what Sam does. And this would lead to, for, like, a minute and such, very quiet, and by Sam in the body and possession of O'Day, the way that Sam moves O'Day's body, the hands and the feel, and by touching Molly's hands, only in the way that Molly would know that that is the way that, yeah, she feels the warmth and flesh of Sam. Then we once again hear the song, which of course being, yeah, Unchained Melody. That plays, and yeah, we get a very emotional, romantic moment between Sam and Molly. What it's like for them to feel, hug, and touch one another. Just, yeah, it's a very touching moment for sure. And, well, that's all interrupted when, sure enough, finally, Carl shows up. Yep. The final showdown and climax. Yep. Carl showing up, he has a gun, of course, and yeah, will stop at nothing to get his hands on the $4 million, which, yeah, they're gone by this point. Yeah, he's not going to be getting them anytime soon. And something then starts to happen to Sam. Like, something doesn't feel right in him. Something clearly is going to be happening to him momentarily. Yeah. And both O'Day and Molly, they make a run for it, going through the apartment building, going to one level of the building that hasn't been touched. You know, there's still some construction work there. And so, yeah, them trying to escape and avoid Carl, even when Carl tries to tell Molly, and yeah, as if she's going to believe Carl as of this point, that O'Day's, you know, lying to Molly and using her and such. Yeah, bull crap. She now knows. I think it's obvious that, yeah, she doesn't trust you anymore. Give it up, Carl. And yeah, just the climax that happens. And when Carl at one point gets a hold of O'Day because they were on top of something, and yeah, just grabbing her ankle and yeah, pulling her down, pointing a gun at her, where's the money? And yeah, just she makes it very clear that it's gone, but you know, he thinks that she's lying. Of course she's not. Then Molly intervening, trying to take on and stop Carl, but yeah, she's not able to. And Sam showing up there, and well, then it would lead to where, say, now Carl has Molly held hostage and at gunpoint, but Sam being quick enough to intervene and to take down Carl, yeah, just tossing him and punching him around, and it would lead to where Carl would aim for the window, and broken glass would come on top of him and impale him, like right here, just, ugh, and that, of course, kills him. Ugh, a gruesome way to go for him to die, but he deserved it. The asshole deserved it. And, well, doesn't take too long for Carl to now be a ghost and to see Sam as a ghost. And it also doesn't take too long for the shadowy cloaked figures to show up and to drag Carl to hell. He, too, rightfully deserves what, yeah, had coming to him. So, yep, sayonara, Carl. You got what you deserved. I'm sorry that it's true, because, yeah, tell me you didn't do that to Carl, but anyways. Okay, so, after Carl's demise, yeah, again, both him and Willie Lopez, they were the two main villains, Carl especially. Yep, they were both done for, especially Carl, yep. Well, what happens next is, Sam checking up on Molly and Oda. And, yep, they're both okay, and when he asks them if they're doing okay, for the first time ever, finally, at long last, Molly can hear Sam's voice. And it doesn't take too long for the heavenly lights to come in, and, well, by this point, Sam's business is finished. Yep, what he was doing as a ghost is done for. Yep. He's finished his duty, now he can finally rest in heavenly peace, and yeah, just wait for Molly to be there on the other side and to reunite with him. And yeah, Molly finally seeing Sam, and the same goes for Oda. And Oda, yeah, because making it clear to Sam that, you know, they're waiting for him, those at heaven, and yep, Sam saying his goodbyes to both O'Day and especially Molly, missing both of them, yep. And after so much Sam put through O'Day, hey, it was well worth it. Of course she would realize that in the end. Yeah. How can you not? And, yep, it's very emotional. It really is. How can you not get emotional over something like that? Because, yeah, again, just after all that time, Molly can finally see him once more, and right before he crosses the Rainbow Bridge off to heaven, yep, they both say goodbye to one another, and the last shots we get is, yep, emotional performance from Demi Moore, tears coming out saying bye, and Patrick Swayze walking off. You know, the character of Sam walking off to heaven, and that's how the movie ends. The movie fades, and yep, the credits roll. What a great way, and a satisfying way, I should say, all together, all the above, for this movie to end off. Yeah. 1990s Ghost is definitely, without a doubt, a top romantic movie masterpiece. And this having to do all about ghosts and such, and how this movie interprets ghosts and with what this film has to offer. Yeah, from beginning to end. You know, from the storyline, great cast of talents, you know, from the late Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore, Tony Goldwyn, Whoopi Goldberg, Vincent Chalamet, and Stephen Root, everybody that was involved in this movie. They were fantastic. The visual effects, and with the ghosts morphing, like, yeah, just going through objects and such, the climax, the suspenseful stuff, the moments you didn't see coming, the twists, like, yeah, the ultimate reveal whom the bad guy is and was, you know, responsible for Sam's death. Moments you didn't see coming, especially for those watching this for the first time. And, you know, if you got emotional, how can you not? If you got some good laughs, yeah, just from the funny and emotional moments all throughout this film, they were great too. The music and score, and with Jerry Zucker's direction, just everything about 1990s Ghost was fantastic. A well-put movie, all about ghosts, just, yeah. And yeah, so, yeah, it's a great movie, without a doubt. And I'm giving 1990s Ghost, yeah, why not? 10 out of 10 stars, yes. 10 out of 10 stars for 1990s Ghost. And what about you guys? What did you think of 1990s Ghost itself? What was your first reaction to when you watched this for the first time? You didn't know anything that was coming your way throughout this movie. If you were obviously, probably a lot of you were familiar with this, and you knew a few things from this movie, but not enough. Yeah, not fully. Would it be one of your top favorite movies that, well, has to do with ghosts? One of your top favorite films to have a great starring cast, you know? Favorite moments, favorite lines, any specific sequence, just, yeah. And if this is one of your top favorite films to come from the Zucker brothers, mainly Jerry Zucker, yeah. But just, and also, like, yeah, if maybe some of you have watched this around, say, Halloween time, because again, ghosts, Halloween, those go together, so this is acceptable, right? But, obviously, you probably had watched this movie during different times, like, I'd probably say maybe Valentine's Day or something, just, yeah. I know I'll be hearing from you in the comments section, but just, yeah, overall, what do you think of 1990s Ghost itself with what all I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review of Ghost? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, guys, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of 1990s Ghost. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I will see you guys in the next video / review. And, well, of course, continuing on, reviewing more Halloweenish films on the weekdays. Stay tuned later tonight, because what I will be reviewing next, it came out the same year as Ghost, and actually came out 1 month after Ghost's release. And it's another Universal Pictures film, something horror-ish, and, you know, one of those that's perfect to watch around Halloween time. Let's just say, and to best describe it, Liam Neeson stars in a film directed by Sam Raimi. I'm pretty sure it's obvious you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just, yeah, again, stay tuned for that. Take care, and peace out. Woo!